and welcome back to the channel Explain the US. I have another big question for Caleb, and today I will ask, which sport is the most common in the USA? Because I have no idea. Do you?
Well, I do now.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. So by this time I should be an expert because, just for you to know, this is the third week, probably the fifth or sixth time that we filmed this video, because the first time it was an unprepared question. I tried to answer, and afterwards I found out that my off the top of my head knowledge about American sports was not adequate. I was completely off. Then we tried to film it again. The audio was bad. So now we're filming it a third time, and I have information, and I'm going to be able to give you the true story now. This is the
So it
real
was
thing.
Unprepared question, but now it's
Originally.
prepared.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's over prepared now.
Over-prepared. Okay, so let's hear it.
Yeah. So it was actually a surprise for me because I don't follow American sports now, and all of my knowledge about American sports comes from 15 years ago when I was in America.
Okay.
I was convinced that baseball would be like the American sport because we call it America's pastime. So now, like, if you ask Americans, apparently 9% of them will say that baseball is their favorite sport. Only 9%. This is from 2017, I think. By far, the most popular sport, if you ask for the favorite sport of Americans, is American football. This is 37% say that football is their favorite sport. So this was really surprising for me. But apparently, in the last 15 years, football has really taken over the American sports scene. And basketball is a little bit above baseball, with 11% being the favorite.
Okay.
So American football, is America's favorite sport at the current time by a lot. And then what might be interesting for our viewers, because outside of the United States, I think in every country it's pretty clear what is the most popular sport, and that is what the entire rest of the world calls football, what we call soccer. This is the most popular sport in the world. In the US, it's never been that popular, but it's becoming more so.
Okay.
And more so with the younger generations, actually. For people who are older than 55, only 1% of them say that soccer is their favorite sport. For people who are 18 to 34, already 11% of them say it's their favorite sport, Americans.
So it's like for the
definitely
younger generation.
I think
It's getting more and more popular.
It's getting more popular, but not like with people in general. It's that as younger generations enter sports, the younger generations are more interested in soccer than the previous generations. But the older generation is still stuck on football and baseball, like this.
And where will be the basketball in there?
In the middle. So as for the generations, it's not changing. It's 11 or 12% for all age groups. Baseball, though, is going down in popularity also. For the older generation, it's 14% say it's their favorite. The youngest generation, like 18 to 34, only 6% say it's their favorite.
Okay.
So it's actually very surprising for me because still we call this America's pastime. It's the country that kind of originated baseball. It's the main country where it's still played, although yes, Japan, South Korea, there's some Central American countries, they're still interested, but it is America's pastime. It seems to be fading out of popularity, though.
Well, it's called pastime, so it should be in the past. And now it is.
Well,
so it's perfectly clear now. It's American pastime, and now
from the
it's
past.
American football.
And now American football is America's sport.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. The message was there all along.
Okay.
Pastime.
So get me this straight. So the first one is the American football.
Right.
The second one is the
Basketball.
and the third one would be the
Is
baseball.
baseball. Yep. And then soccer after
and then
that.
soccer
Yep.
and other things.
Now, still, so soccer and basketball, most people in the rest of the world at least know the basics of how it's played. But I thought I might very briefly try to explain American football
That'd be
and
nice.
baseball, because we
Great.
see it in movies. If you're in America, you might get invited to play a game. So let me just try to make it as simple as possible. With American football.
Let's take this like a head start for you.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's two teams and a big field, and there is the football, which is this strange
The ball.
oval shape that is, despite being called football, it is almost never in contact with a foot. Occasionally, but so the goal is to try to take the ball to the opposite end of the field, and if you get it all the way to the end of the field into what's called the end zone, then you make a touchdown, and this is worth 6 points.
6 points.
Okay. To go there, though, the other team will be in front of you, and they are trying to knock you down, knock the ball out of your hands, or to knock you down on the ground, and then you're down, and you stop there, the ball stays there, you reform the lines, and then you go
On
second
the,
time.
on the place where the ball landed.
Where the ball lands,
Okay.
exactly that spot.
Exactly.
Everyone lines up
Right.
with the ball there. Then you do it again, and you have 4 chances, we call 4 downs, to get it to the other end of the field. If you don't manage, you turn around and you go back the other way.
Okay.
If you manage to get into the end zone, it's a touchdown. Woohoo, big thing. This is 6 points. Then there's some other scoring after that. Don't worry about the details. The other main way that you score is if you get close to the end zone, but you don't think you'll be able to have a man push through the other team, you can kick the ball. And
Yeah,
you try to
that's
kick
what I
it.
wanted to ask.
Yeah, you try to kick it between these poles.
Yeah.
If you make it through these poles or between these poles, it's called a field goal, and that's 3 points.
Okay.
So these are the two main ways that you can score. So a lot of American movies about football, maybe if the
there's a
hero
lot
is
of
the kicker,
kicking,
then
Definitely.
he's trying to save the game by making a really difficult
Okay.
kick to get the last few points that they need to win the game. You know, this is the common thing. So that's American football.
Okay.
You need a lot of pads and equipment, and so baseball, on the other hand, very different game. There's not a lot of movement. There's no contact between players. One team will be out in the field, and the other team takes turns with the bat, trying to hit the ball. The goal of baseball is to manage to hit the ball and get around the 4 bases. And if you get back to the home base where you started, then you'll get 1 point. Usually you have to do that in stages, though, because when you are on one of the bases, you're safe. But if you're off the base and someone touches you with the ball, then you're out. And you have to go back to your team.
Yeah, you can see always in the movies like running for the next base and make it just in time.
Right, exactly. So while they're coming, someone's sliding in, they're coming down. If they touch the base before the ball touches them, then they're safe and they stay on the base. So usually the way it works is you hit the ball. If the other team catches it before it hits the ground, you're out automatically. So it's risky to hit it up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you hit it too hard.
We'll come to that.
And okay.
We'll come to that.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So you hit it, either it lands in the ground or you hit it on the ground through the other players, and you run to the first base. And if you get there before they throw the ball back and touch you with the ball, then you stay there. Your teammate comes, hits the ball, maybe the same thing. He comes to first base, you run to second base. Then the next person comes up, they hit the ball well, they go to first base, second base, you're on third base. And you're waiting for the opportunity
I'm too
to run
much
home.
in the bases, so I hope you understand. It gets a little bit confused.
Well,
But
you might go, like with each batter, you might just go one more base.
yeah, like one more round.
Right. Until you actually you're on the third base and you get the opportunity, someone hits the ball and you get the opportunity to run to home base and then you make a
there's
point.
Okay.
But the more classic and exciting event in baseball is when you hit the ball really, really hard and it actually goes out of the field. So the other team can't catch it, they can't get it back. And this is called a
home run.
A home run. George! Then everyone who is on the bases gets to casually walk home, and every person scores 1 point when they hit home base. Now, the best thing that can happen is if you have a teammate on all 3 bases, and you come up and you hit a home run, which means it will be worth 4 points.
Okay.
Which is a lot of points in baseball. But do you know what this is called when you get 4 points? So a grand slam. This is called a grand slam. Yeah.
Like in a tennis. Probably means a little bit different thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think quite different. Yeah, no connection really. You keep batting actually until you get out 3 times. So someone hits you with the ball, or let's make it simple. You swing 3 times and miss, and then you're out. So 3 outs, and you switch places. You go in the field. The other team is batting, and it goes on for 9 turns. So you each take a turn. That's 1 inning, and you'll have 9 innings. But there's no time limit to the inning. So if you don't get out and you just keep hitting and making points, it can go on a really long time.
So this is like the longest sport. Like in this sport, it could be really long.
It could be. I mean, I heard, I don't have the exact details now, but I heard about games that would last like 18 hours or something because they just work
with the same teams. They cannot switch, right? That would be really long and exhausting.
Yeah, it's something like this. That's the record, but usually
I would like to see the end of this.
People would be exhausted. Usually a baseball game would be 3 or 4 hours like this.
Pretty long too.
Yeah, it's pretty long. So I would say if you're in America, usually you won't be invited to play American football because you need equipment, you need to know what you're doing. It's pretty intense physically, but very often people.
I think people would like tell you to just do it like on the backyard, just like American football.
There's
without
touch football.
That's touch football.
Touch football means you don't tackle someone.
Okay.
It's just if you touch them with both hands, then they have to stop.
So
it's less aggressive.
So this is like an official sport, or is it like
this is like a picnic
lower
sport.
Version of the American football?
It's just a picnic sport.
Picnic.
Because the real sport, like you tackle people, you're smashing people.
Okay.
But touch football, it's to avoid.
Okay.
Avoid
I didn't
injury.
know that. That's interesting.
So yeah, if someone invites you to play touch football, why not? But more often, you might be invited to play baseball. And don't worry if you don't know the rules. Like this is kind of a social thing. Most people don't play let's say a lot of people play, but not very seriously or competitively. It's just there to like hit the ball and run around, and so it's something that you should do if you're invited, just for the experience. They'll explain the rules to you, and it's just a fun America's pastime.
And now you have instructions what the rules are, at least basics. So now you can do it.
Yeah.
And I have 2 unprepared questions for you. I'm not sure if you
ambush
make
question.
it,
okay.
But we'll see. You already said that American football is called American football, even though you should not touch the ball with the feet.
Yes.
So do you know why is it called like that if it's not connected to feet?
That is an excellent question.
Football?
I read
Any
about
ideas?
this years ago,
Okay.
and I cannot remember.
Okay.
So no, I don't.
Okay.
I'm not going to guess. I don't know.
Then it's a question for you. And the second question is, why do Americans call our football soccer? What's the word? Soccer.
This I think I know.
What's the meaning?
Because we have football.
Like American football.
American football.
Yeah.
We don't call it American football. Americans just call it football.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, it's a very good question of why we call it football when there's not much contact with the foot. But I think we have football, so then when this other sport comes along, we can't call it football like the rest of the world. Yeah. So we invented another name for it.
And does it have like any meaning? Like,
Soccer?
Like what does it mean? I have no idea.
I don't.
Like soccer.
I don't know.
What is it? Like is it like the shape of the ball?
No, I don't know. I don't think it has a meaning
Okay.
outside of the name for the sport. But tell us if you find out.
Yeah. Try
Like-
to find out. and
Yeah.
tell
Why
us.
why do we call it football and why do we call it soccer? Like
Yeah.
these are good questions. Yeah. So it seems we could film this a fourth time because I didn't prepare all the information, but
No, it's
it leaves
fine,
some homework for the
because-
rest of you.
Right. We answer the questions and we give some too, it seems, from our...
You thought you were just coming for
Yeah.
information, but you get homework too.
Right.
So do a quick Google search. Let us know what you find.
And thank you in advance. See you in the comments. Welcome back to... Turn that off, please. You ruined my...
Oh, good news. On Twitter, we have a new follower.